And as a country, we have so much to offer, whichever state you're in, small-time local craftsmen to these really amazing design firms, bespoke design firms that are coming up now in terms of crafting furniture. What better than to use products and finishes that are made here?
A warm good afternoon from the Architects Diary, and I'm Simran Khare, the co-editor at the Architects Diary, and I extend a gracious welcome to TADPod. So, TADPod is an initiative by the Architects Diary where we illuminate the remarkable journeys of the leaders with architectural brilliance. Through TADPod, we focus on presenting curated insights from extraordinary individuals, shedding light on their creative processes, exemplary philosophies, and exquisite contributions to the built environment. By featuring discussions with visionary architects, designers, and urban planners, TADPod seeks to broaden perspectives and shatter stereotypes. TADPod is more than just an interview series. It's a platform for thought leadership, inspiration, and action, driving forward the discourse on architecture and design in pursuit of a better and more vibrant future for all. Today, I'm elated to have Charita Kishore Rupa, the founder of Studio Skapa Architects. Charita is the principal architect of Studio Skapa Architects, armed with a master's degree in urbanism and housing from the AA School of Architecture in London and work experience from leading architecture firms in Sri Lanka and India. She started Studio Skapa Architects in early 2019. Her extensive travel for architectural research and collaborative work in London, Denmark, Sweden, and Brazil has helped her gain an insight into the international arena of architecture. Before we begin, I truly appreciate the designs you have achieved. The chic looks of the interiors and elegance in every project of yours is quite commendable. Without further ado, let's dive into a thought provoking session with you. So, to begin with the interview, I would love to get to know the story behind you choosing architecture and design as your career.
Okay, so to start off with, I think it sort of very organically happened. Like as a kid, like from very young age, I've always been more brain focused. So I would automatically approach a situation through intuition, creativity, or imagination rather than being very analytic in the conversation. So I think for me, it's always been visual versus verbal. My visual skills were always much stronger than reading something or looking at something closely. So, and I remember as a kid, like going to people's houses, like friends or family friends with my parents, you would always notice more than the decor or something. It was the floor plan and the flow of spaces that would really stick with me and talk to me. So if I saw if I saw spaces flowing into each other very well, that's something that would really intrigue me, and I would go back home and think, is there something I would do something different, or is that was something really interesting that I saw. So I think very naturally, being in a creative field is what I wanted to be, and I ended up in the field of architecture and design.
That's great. So I think the choice of architecture is like the perfect solution for the creativity in you, which is inbuilt since childhood.
Yeah.
We as Indians immensely draw inspiration from our families and the cultures for the way we choose to work and live. So, how does your childhood and your family influence your style of work?
Yeah, so like I was saying, everyone's past makes them who they are today. And I think, especially in terms of my design, my where I come from, my heritage, and my past experiences has a really huge impact on my design sensibilities today. So I'm very South Indian at heart, I feel, and I feel that shows a lot in my design. So, whether it's typologies of a building or the material palette that I would go to. For example, we use a lot of exposed bricks, a lot of oxide finishes, terrazzo, a lot of terracotta. So, all these are material palettes that I'm automatically drawn towards because that is something that I, grew up around. So, we use the same material palette to create like nostalgic familiarity. So that's something I think that has a really huge impact on my design sensibilities.
Right, rightly said. I mean, these factors affect you a lot and they have an impact on your subconscious mind. And when you
Yes,
start designing, I think that's when you realize that this is something from the
yes,
past that
you're
I've borrowed.
drawn towards it without realizing it, and then you're like, okay, this is the
Yes.
pattern. I'll go with that.
Right, right, definitely. After graduation, you worked with firms in Sri Lanka and India and carried out various architectural collaborative works in London, Denmark, etc. So, how did these initial work experiences shape you as an architect?
These were really impressionable years for me as a designer and an architect. This is when I just got off, you know, bachelor's, and that was the time I was still young. That was like a very impressionable time for me to travel and understand and learn. So I think Sri Lanka was one of the best experiences in terms of design for me. My love for tropical modernism was born in Sri Lanka. It's still my most favorite style of architecture. And I was blessed to work in a good firm and get a lot of experience in implementing the style, tropical modernism. And in an island country, we got to, design various, like not only residential, but also like hotels, F&B. So we got to design a lot of an array of projects, which really helped in the first few years of my profession. And after that, like you mentioned, that I was at the AA School of Architecture, and we had a lot of experience through AA working internationally. So we worked with the government of London and one of the boroughs. So I think what also helped was these were not uh, um, um, make do projects. They were real life scenarios that we had to intervene in and come up with solutions. So we had to get real. So that's something that that really shaped my thought process at that point as well. We also worked with governments in Brazil, and so during this entire process, I think I learned about architecture on a larger scale, got a very deep understanding of architecture in terms of urban design and how it relates to its urban fabric around the space and not just the within the building itself.
Right, right, right. I think you had like a really great experience in the early years of your career. So I think that has definitely shaped the way you are working today.
Yeah. That was a really strong foundation for us to start off our studio on.
Right, right, right. So these steps in career, I think, help us a lot, and they have an impact on us, which is greater than we can imagine. The early years of what you work and study. Yeah. Going ahead, the process of starting your own architecture and design studio marks a significant milestone in any architect's career. So, could you take me through the process or the journey of the same?
So, I was back from my course. I joined a builder because I had studied urbanism. I was interested in working in architecture on a larger scale, how how it relates to buildings around it, and like I said, what's the impact of a particular building on certain fabric around it. So I thought with a builder because I got to work on larger townships and layouts, and experience how high density buildings would work with low density buildings, with the social buildings. So what is the impact that each space would create for the other space? So got to learn a lot during those years. But what I didn't get during that time was, since these are all really large scale projects, the timelines were also really long. So I wouldn't feel the sense of satisfaction of project completion because it's like 4 years, 5 years, and I think I was getting quite impatient to see a project completed, and that's when I decided, okay, it's time I start on my own, and that's how Studio Skapa was born.
Right, right. That's a great story. Yeah. So every new project is like a fresh canvas for painting a narrative. So how do you incorporate your design palette with the needs and desires of the end user, which is the client?
So, it's a different kind of excitement when you start off a project. You have a fresh canvas in front of you, and the possibilities are endless. But for us, it's always been our client is king. Their brief is or has always been our start point of our inspiration. Because it matters so much where the client comes from, what's their lifestyle, what's their history, and anything, whether it's a residential, F&B, whatever genre of the project that it has to cater to what would make the client more comfortable, most comfortable rather. So I think the client's brief and the client's lifestyle and background has always been our uh, force of inspiration throughout. And we don't believe in forcing upon a particular style or a particular sensibility of design on someone that is not comfortable with it. And in case our clients' design sensibilities just don't align with us, we don't take up those projects as well. Yeah.
Right. I think that is a better option instead of just forcing our decisions on them. I think this is definitely a better way out of this.
Yeah.
With people constantly shifting to modern trends, how do you stay relevant to your design language and design philosophy?
We are the firm that has almost never ever been the first to jump on a trend bandwagon. I don't, we as a firm don't really stick with new trends or something. We believe in, what the project requires, and whether it's a new trend or it's been there forever, it's what the project requires is what we do, and we don't really, try to get on board with new trends.
I think the trends are
I mean,
quite.
we follow something that's always timeless and classic, and I think that's the trend that is here to stay. That anything you design now should be relatable even years later. So, yeah, that's what
Right,
we
right.
believe.
Definitely. I mean, the client has is going to stay there for like the next 20, 30 years of his life. So having a timeless
Yeah.
design is definitely a solution to such things. Yes. So going ahead, having strong cultural and traditional identities in India, how do you create a cultural impact in interior design to create a connection with the Indianness?
I think, this question is so valid because right now India is in its design boom, and we are so lucky to be right in the middle of it. And as a country, we have so much to offer, whichever state you're in, and whether it's in terms of again building typologies or materials and finishes and craftsmanship. There is so much, from small time local craftsmen to these really amazing design firms, bespoke design firms that are coming up now in terms of crafting furniture and crafting, different kinds of flooring. There's so much. It's like it's a whole explosion and a whole playground of things to explore. So I think the Indianness automatically comes into any of our projects because what I mean. What better than to use project products and finishes that are made here and support Make in India. And especially, I mean, you don't really need to look elsewhere because the quality of the work here is so great. So, yeah, so I mean, we're very happy to be in the middle of this whole design boom that India is going through.
Right, right. I mean, India has like such a varied landscape of art and culture everywhere around. So I think we have a lot of inspiration around us, and we don't really need to borrow it from elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, going ahead, the finness in your designs today is achieved by going through various ups and downs throughout the years of your experience. What were those projects or incidents which molded you into the architect and designer that you are today?
It's been a journey. It's been a long journey. I mean, I know it started in 2019, but that's when COVID hit. And I think actually during COVID, we kind of, got a lot of projects as opposed to not having work during COVID. And every experience, every project has been such a learning. So every project would add something new to learn from. And I think there are two phases to this. One is learning as a designer, which is still which is still okay because design is something that almost comes naturally. So it is these little things that we keep learning with each project, what works, what doesn't work, what's the process, what materials do, all of that. But I think my major learning has been as an entrepreneur to how as a leader of studio, as a founder of an architecture studio, how am I managing the entire circus to that project. So it's it's been a long journey, and I mean, like I said, every experience has been hard learning, a good learning, and I continuing to learn further.
Right. I think every experience shapes us in a different way and takes us to what we are today. So, inspiration is quite a dominant factor which drives the design towards the goal, and inspiration can be drawn from anything around us. So, would you tell me about some of your hobbies or interests which help you draw inspiration for the unique style of designs?
So I think it's so interesting that every culture and the history of every place, and from a cuisine to their lifestyle to everything, has such a deep impact on design. And it's so amazing to see how how design goes back all these years through any place, which is slightly similar but so different. So, travel is something that really expands your knowledge, and you see things out there, what's new, what's old. And if you see my phone, it's completely filled with like images of like little details of maybe a small grill detail or a color scheme that works amazingly that I had never thought of. So it's these little things that you pick up as you see more.
I think traveling is definitely one of the biggest inspiration architects can like really be inspired from. We have so many different states in India with different cultures. It can take us through like literally a journey whenever we try to visit any place.
Yeah, I can sort of see it relate back to the design. Once I'm back, and maybe something from a couple of years ago just pops up, and it works so well within that design. So it definitely has a large impact on our design.
Right, rightly said. So, a sense of satisfaction is required when we put our heart and mind into any work that we do. So, this sense of satisfaction is subjective and depends on every person and the situation around the person. So, how do you find a sense of fulfillment and purpose in your work as an architect beyond just the completion of projects?
I think that's the favorite stage or phase of design for any designer or architect. When the project is completed, like it is beyond just the completion of project. I think it's when you've taken up a project, it has a timeline. So maybe a couple of months or maybe a few years. So you develop a relationship with your clients or and even your vendors. So it feels like a team effort. It feels like you've achieved something together, and just seeing that expression and that sense of like, for example, if it's a residential project, it's not a project that you're completing, but it's a home that you're giving to your client, and just to see them feel that sense of belonging in a space that is made for them by them is just really amazing. So eh, yeah, I think the satisfaction and the look on the client's face, and their sense of belonging in what is created for them, yeah, gives us our biggest satisfaction.
Right. I think we as architects, once we hand over certain project, it's like we are handing over the dream. It's like dream come true for the client, and not just for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's so nice because even like, 2, 3 years later, the clients still get back to us, sending us
Yes.
photos of, their family hanging out in their favorite corner of the house and things like that. And I mean, my heart really smiles when I see those things. So that's what drives us by the end of the day.
Right, right, right. I think moments like this makes us realize that we are doing the right thing. Right. So, as we come to the end of the interview, would you like to give a message to our listeners? Any advice or a message from your side?
I think just be yourself, believe in yourself, and do your best. And just, I mean, be kind, and that's it. Like, just be
Right.
enjoy life and take it to peace. Enjoy work, enjoy life, and create as
Rightly
much.
said. Yeah. I mean, if we don't enjoy what we do, it's not something that we're doing right.
Yeah.
Right, right, right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Charita, for
you.
sparing out time from your busy schedule for this interview. And I hope this reaches the right kind of people and they are inspired by your journey, which has been really fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Charita.
Thank
Yes, looking forward to see you again.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.